It's a beautiful day here at the village, and yes, even though the first 16 episodes all took place at only one village, that doesn't mean there isn't a village near you. Especially if you live in Bridgewater, because that's where this village is located. And if you will allow me to judge a book by its cover, I think this is going to be a very nice village indeed. But it's what's on the inside that counts, so let's see what they've got. Starting with the video games, and be still my beating heart. Look at all those prices. This is what it was like back in the golden days of thrifting at the village back home. I can't believe this still exists. And of course, with my luck, I already own a copy of every single game here worth owning, except Minecraft, but that was $10. Same with Ace Combat here for the PSP. Cool to see a PSP game that still has the case. Really wish I kept my PSP. I bought it at my local Zellers, which if you're not Canadian, Zellers was this big retail store that was in every small town and big city across the country. Probably, I don't know. But they had a restaurant called The Sizzler and a mascot named Zeddy. And it's also where I was able to experience the Nintendo Virtual Boy. So if it wasn't for Zellers, I would have totally missed out on that. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, Road Trip. Let's see what else they've got here. Little Leaps by Leapfrog. In order to get any use out of these games, you'd need the controller. It's big, but it's pretty cool though. It transforms and everything, and I'm getting sidetracked again already. Holy frig. They also have Dead Island for $4. I don't have it. I'd like to have it, and I would have it, but the disc was in horrendous condition. And speaking of discs, this isn't a video game, but it is disc shaped. Kinda, and it's in a very nice padded velvet display case. I can't read what it says. I thought I could figure it out from the picture, but it looks like a building with... I want to say these are like little square emoji faces, but I don't know, this looks really fancy and possibly religious in nature, but also, why is it at the Village of Values, and why is there no price tag on it? I better talk about something else. Here's an Olympia electronic typewriter. It's compact and made by Olympia. And, oh wow, there's even more of those things up here. What are these? All I know is they're really heavy and look expensive. Holy jeez, look at the size of this one! It has the same dimensions as a sheet of printer paper, but it's made out of metal. Shura Council. Alright, let me get to Googling. Google said it's like a council and it's located in Saudi Arabia and it's composed of a president and 150 members chosen by the king. There. Mystery solved. Okay, what else we got here? A $4 autographed photo of... Uh-oh. Looks like we've got another mystery to solve. I have no idea who this guy is either, but he's only $3. Maybe on the back they say... well, whatever. If you know who either one of these guys are, or both, just let me know in the comments, please. Thank you very much. Check this thing out. You put this bag over your head, and it makes your hair curly. Pretty cool, huh? This old school clothing iron isn't made to be cool, but it sure is heavy. Wonder what it is. Why, it's a Brock Snyder from Grimsby, Ontario, which sounds made up. It's like a location from a Tim Burton movie or something. What else we got here? Oh, there's a music box that appears to be broken. A Sudoku game that appears to be broken. A rock tumbler that appears to be... An absolutely glorious assortment of electronics here in the assorted electronics section, and the first thing that jumped out at me was this exit sign that's only $8. But judging by how it sounds inside, it should probably be back in that last section with all the other broken stuff. But no time for that now. I just found a camera that can talk. But other than that, it's completely useless to me because I wouldn't know how to make it work because this thing takes a very particular type of film that has a battery in it for a motorized picture ejection. So unless I'm comprehending that incorrectly, it would be reasonable to expect that every pack of film that was created for this camera now contains a dead battery which renders them unusable. Plus, it's not a good idea to buy a camera when it has a 1-800 number larger than the name of the camera itself on the front of the box. This probably means you'll end up spending more for film than you do on the camera. It's kinda how Polaroid made most of their money. And kinda why Polaroid didn't do so great when digital photography became affordable. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Jennifer's Road Trip. Here's an American Idol brand karaoke machine, which actually comes with the American Idol brand microphone. They didn't try to separate the two for profit. Weird. And they're both in great condition. Is this show still popular? I bet this would fetch a profit on eBay, if you're into that kind of flippin' thing. I'm not, so let's see what else they've got. Here's something that looks like it belongs in the kids' toy section. It's a John Deere brand toy camera. because John Deere makes tractors, and kids love tractors. So they made a toy camera because, well, they already make toy tractors, and hopefully their tractors and toy tractors work better than this camera because all it does is make noise. Kind of like me right now, so let's keep her moving. Here's a cheap RGB LED strobe light that I don't need because I already have one. Instead, I need it because I'd like to have 2 of them. And I mean, just look at all these applications. Home party, karaoke TV, disco, dancing hall, club, bar. Those last 4 are pretty much the same thing when you come from a small town like me. You could pair it up with this little Altec Lansing Bluetooth speaker. It's not for me though. Same goes with this Honeywell Strobeman 440. I think that's what it's called. It's hard to tell with this font. But yeah, this is like a really old school camera flash, I guess. And it looks like it plugs into the wall. That's pretty wild. And since we're on the topic of wild, I thought this was another one of those point of sales UPC barcode scanners that we came across in a previous episode in my hometown village, but it turns out this is one of those quote unquote personal massagers. So that's what this is. And oh, there's a good thrifting tip for you. Don't touch the used personal massagers. Hey, check it out. It's an old Canon digital camera, a point and shoot that seems completely unremarkable until you realize that it has 420 stamped on the front. My sister used to have one lot like this. She didn't have anything quite like this little discount action camera though. It has quite the design. Ooh, Here's an Argus digital point and shoot, and it's still in the packaging. Wow, this thing is great for posting images on the internet, sharing pictures with friends, online auctions, plug and play simplicity. Ah, right there, 2004. 3 years before the first iPhone, this is what we had to work with. It's quite antiquated and undesirable. Here's something that's antiquated but still kinda desirable. A Much Music brand cell phone holder that you can clip onto your belt. Kids today will never understand how crazy some people used to be about clipping things to their belt. Can't blame them though. I figure it would just kinda make you feel like Batman. In this case, a very fashionable early 2000s Canadian Batman. And of course they have that Logitech Wingman flight stick. Jeez, it's like this thing is following me around ever since I said I regretted not buying it for $7 or $8 way back in an earlier episode. They're going up in price, but as long as it works and it's in good condition like this one, it's definitely worth $10, if you're into flight simulators. If you wanted to save yourself a few bucks, you could instead buy this PC Flight Force flight stick by Interact Game Products. But if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that cheap plastic peripherals never enhance the video game experience. In fact, they make them much worse because, oh, hold up, what's this? Real World Golf for the Sony PlayStation 2 console by GameTrack Game Systems. It's a publisher I've never heard of that added a bunch of unnecessary mechanics to a golf video game by including the need to use a bunch of cheap plastic peripherals. I guess buying this would totally contradict what I just said about that cheap flight stick. This village still has plenty more to offer, like this awesome AudioVox car phone. Just take a guess at when this thing was released into the market. Did you say 1989? Well, that would have been my guess too, but as far as I can tell from very little internet research, this thing actually came out in 1999. That's 8 years before the first iPhone. So in retrospect, it seems that things really escalated quickly for cell phones. The same kind of can be said for home video. Anyway, here's a video cassette rewinder that looks like a sweet-ass car. I'm sure this predates the AudioVox car phone, but who knows? Not many people had a DVD player back in 1999, so this could actually be the same age or even newer. But I doubt it. Still cool, although I am very glad we no longer need things like this. Above all this, on the top shelf, they had a really cool wood grain Sears record/cassette player combo with a massive speaker. Here's my hand for scale. Yeah, definitely bigger than my hand. Funny to think that everyone just streams their phone through one Bluetooth speaker nowadays when this is what they used to do. And you know what? If I had the room, I'd still love to have something like this. Or something like this old record player named Gerard. Gerard the Record Player. Sounds like the title of a hipster book for kids. Yeah, I know dissing hipsters isn't exactly topical, but I've spent so much time in thrift stores around old, outdated items that my jokes are just, they're reflecting the nature of my surroundings. Fleetwood, Solid State. And hey, this must have been used by the local radio station. I actually listened to CKBW on my drive here, and the whole time I was working in this area. They play great classic rock tunes, if I recall correctly. Maybe it was 80s pop. I don't know. Either way, I was digging it. Right behind the record player was this really heavy mystery box that I was also digging. Cool design on it. What is that? Is that tweed? Tweed sounds like 'twas, but instead of being short for it was, it's short for it weed. And that doesn't really make any sense. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, road trip. This here is a Coda-Slide projector, and it feels like it's made out of lead. And the power cable feels, well, pretty gross actually. Kinda wish I didn't touch it. I think this is from like the 1950s, and if that's the case, this thing is really old. Enjoying its golden years here in the village, kicking back and relaxing on this overpriced pillow with armrests. That's the ideal retirement if you ask me. Okay, so usually we wrap these things up by visiting a glass display case, but the one at this location is up front by all the people, and that always makes for some awkward shooting. So instead we're gonna go through all these here CDs and find the best of the best, and we're gonna buy them. And I know what you're thinking, and oh yes, of course I'm going to show off all the cool music I just bought, starting with 5440's Trusted by Millions. But we also have Bruce Springsteen's greatest hits. Coldplay's Parachutes, we don't have to dwell on that because we also picked up Spike by Elvis Costello. Along with Tragically Hip's Day for Night, Blue Rodeo's Outskirts, some more Elvis Costello in the form of When I Was Cruel, David Miles in the Nighttime. If you don't know David Miles, check him out. He's very good. Unlike my car right now, which is just a disgusting mess. The Traveling Wilburys Volume 1, which is some damn fine driving music. Simon and I also bought Simon & Garfunkel's Greatest Hits, because for someone who says they don't like Greatest Hits albums, I sure do buy a lot of them. Don McLean's American Pie, now that's a great hit. Also picked up Oasis, Don't Believe the Truth. Very poignant album name these days, but moving on. We've got Supertramp Classics Volume 9. Sad to say they didn't have the first 8, but it's all good because we picked up the Beatles Past Masters Volume 1. Sad to say they didn't have Volume 2, but it's all good because we picked up the Beatles A Hard Day's Night. And just when you think it couldn't get any better, we've got the Beatles Revolver. And in my opinion, just as good as Revolver is the Beatles' Rubber Soul. And along with all this great music, I also bought that RGB LED strobe light and Real World Golf for the PS2. Wow, this is the most I've bought during one episode in a long time. And this cake of an episode was so sweet, it really doesn't need any icing on top, but we've got some in the form of this very nice grand total of $69 and 6 cents. So yeah, what did you think about our very first ever Village of Values road trip? I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too, because I did a little more traveling over the summer and visited 3 more villages that I'm excited to show you around, because I love being your virtual thrifting tour guide right here in the Village of Values.